Hi there, sixth grade. Welcome to history class. Today, I would like to go over the inquiry journal pages and questions that you worked on yesterday. Maybe it was the other day, I can't remember. But I'm just going to go through each of the questions. And if you have answers something like this, then I would say you are right on target. You are right on task. Let's begin with page 126. Page 126 in your inquiry journal workbook was a little bit of a review on lesson 3. The directions were to go back into lesson 3 to help you answer the questions, search for evidence to help you answer the questions. Let's look at question number 1, analyzing ideas. The question was, how is the Hebrew Bible a multi-purpose document for the Jewish people? Your answers may have included that the Hebrew Bible served as a reminder to Jewish people of the laws of the religion, as well as the history of its development. It also serves as a way to interpret modern issues. So even today, we can go back into the Hebrew Bible, our Bible, to try to interpret how we should live today or interpret some of the problems that we face today. And we do that by using the principles that have been laid out in the Hebrew Bible. So that is a couple of ways of how the Hebrew Bible is a multi-purpose document for the Jewish people, meaning it serves several different purposes. Let's go down to number 2. How does the account of the prophet Daniel demonstrate to Jews that God will rescue them from harm and that good will triumph over evil? You may have something like, when the Chaldeans threw Daniel into the lion's den, God protected him from the wild beasts. And just as God rescued Daniel from the lions, God will rescue Jews from harm from other peoples. Just as God helped Daniel triumph over the evil of the Chaldeans, throwing him into a lion's den, God will help good triumph over evil throughout the world. Makes sense. This study of chapter 6 hopefully has been a little bit easier for you because of our background, being Christ followers and being in a Christian school and having access to the Bible all the time. We have a really good background in a lot of this. Number 3, how is the biblical account of Daniel similar to other accounts of Israelites in crisis in the Hebrew Bible? In other words, the Daniel account, how does that, or how is that how is that similar or the same as other stories and other accounts of problems that people faced in the Bible? Other accounts from the Hebrew Bible describe times when the Israelites were in danger and when God stepped in to save them because they were faithful. The same thing happens with Daniel. His faith shows God that he is worthy of being protected by the lions. So the Daniel account speaks to the fact that when at other times Israelites were in crisis or had a problem, God would step in to save them because they were faithful or they were his chosen people. All right, moving on to page 127, number 4. Using the graphic organizer, you were to write the roles of each member of a Jewish family in the time of the ancient Israelites. And then you should have described how a person in the Hebrew Bible is used to reinforce those roles in the family. So some possible answers would have been, if you were a father in ancient Israel, you would have led the family. You would teach your sons a trade and you would teach them to worship God, just like Abraham taught Isaac to worship God through his actions. If you were a daughter in ancient Israel, you would have helped your mom with home chores and preparation for the Sabbath. You would prepare to be a wife and mother. And Ruth is an example of a devoted daughter. Remember Ruth being responsible and taking care of her mother-in-law, Naomi. All right, and if you were a son in ancient Israel, you would have been an apprentice, a learner to your father. You would have prepared to lead a family someday, and you would be learning the Torah, just like Joshua led his family to the promised land. All right, moving down to number 5. In the graphic organizer, you were to choose 2 laws of Judaism described in the textbook that are still observed today, and then describe how they were observed by ancient Israelites. Well, the 2 that we have chosen here are the Sabbath. The Sabbath law is still observed today. Back in ancient Israel, the Israelites did not work on the Sabbath, but worshiped and rested. And today, like we have said before, the Jewish Sabbath runs from sundown on Friday to sundown on Saturday. And I believe that they try to follow the same sort of pattern of resting and worshiping and not doing very much work in that 24-hour period. The second Jewish law that you may have written down was the Kashrut. And the ancient Israelites had a list of animals they could not eat, and they killed animals in a kosher manner for food. Today, that is still observed. The food is labeled kosher, meaning it aligns with the Jewish laws when it comes to killing animals and preparing food, so on and so forth. All right, that is pages 126 and 127, some possible answers. I will do a second video on the other 2 pages in just a minute. Until next time, bye.